What's up, everybody? Man, I hope all is well. Welcome back to the show as always, man. This is That Square Podcast. First things first, I hope everything is doing well. Everybody's doing well. Should be doing well. My pick wise, last week, if you watched the games on Sunday and Monday, whew, was not very good. So it took me some time to come back and gather some of my thoughts, putting some stuff together here and there. Week four, it's got a lot of stuff. I wrote a lot of stuff down, man, for week four. Week four has got a lot. But I kind of wanted to do like a, 3-game breakdown pretty much. To see where I'm at with these stats with these teams. Because right now, I think we're getting into the stride of who's going to be playing in late January and who's not going to be playing in late January. And I know that's a hard thing to like make a judgment call and it's like, kind of say, well, it's too early in the season to determine it. Some teams you just know they ain't got it. Some teams hey, that looks like that works. And then of course I'll revisit this again, week 7, week 8, the halfway mark. I know it's 17 games, so I should be saying week 8 and week 9, but you know how it is. Starting off, we want to time block it. NFC East. Eagles right now are number 1 in the division. I'm loving Jalen Hurts. I'm loving AJ Brown. I'm loving Vontae Smith. I'm loving their defense. Jordan Davis showed out against the Washington Commanders this weekend. I don't know, man. The Eagles look like they could do some damage. I mean, Hurts has gotten way better since last year. And I mean, due to that, injuries, to be honest with you, poor drafting of the offensive line. But the defense helps them out too by putting them in great situations. So to me, I think that this is a great step up for Hurts. They're not a bad team. I think they're doing exceptionally well. If you're betting money on them, if you're in fantasy, you better have picked up Vontae Smith, AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert. Surprisingly enough, the thing the Eagles don't do is they don't run the ball effectively or enough, I should say. I don't think they have to run the ball, but I understand style is cool with throwing the ball. Like people like it, people watch games more, but get Miles Sanders more involved in the offense, and I think they should do that going forward because he's just too talented of a running back to be sitting in the backfield. Next up is the Cowboys. They're number 2 in the NFC East. Dallas is at a crossroad. Me personally, I am from Dallas, Texas, but I'm a Texans fan. But I think that I understand Cooper Rush is the going thing right now. I love Dak Prescott. I think that Dak Prescott is great, but not for the Cowboys. So honestly, this QB thing going on right now is something that's very hard to determine. Hypothetically speaking, Tony Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott did a great job against the Giants yesterday, but then again, it is the Giants. I don't expect much, and they did play the Bengals, which I don't expect much. They were in the game against the Bucks. I'm just looking at the Cowboys and I'm saying to myself, I think that the best thing to do for them would be pretty much just kind of play a 2-quarterback system to see who fits where and who doesn't. Because they paid Dak a lot of money, and Cooper Rush, he's doing his thing right now. He's doing his thing. Defense looks great too, by the way. Giants, false goal. Giants and the Commanders, I put them both together. Both of them right now, Saquon Barkley is the best thing for the Giants. The defense is terrible. Daniel Jones is not that good. The Giants just look sad right now. They just look sad. And I know their winning record is 2-1, but come on, man. It's Carolina and Tennessee. They beat 2 teams I do not think they're going to make to the playoffs this year. So I'm not really impressed with that. As for Washington, the same way. They beat the Jags. Carson Wentz, I used to love Carson Wentz. Now I'm just like, God leave. But I think that Washington could probably, go 9-8 this year due to the fact that they do have the offensive weapons. I mean, I love Jahan Dotson, best receiver in the draft, I think. You can argue me that in the comments if you want. Put that in argue me in the comments of this year's draft. Curtis Samuel, he's okay. Scary Terry McLaurin, he's cool as well. But as soon as the D-line gets back to being 100% with, Payne, Sweat, Chase Young, I can't really see Washington being 100% because if they have no pressure, it's hard. It is hard. Moving over to the NFC West. Rams, it look like they'll be back as a contender. 49ers, what? Sorry, I shouldn't have brushed over the Rams. Shout out to the Rams fans. If you're if you're real or not, I don't know. St. Louis to LA, I don't know who's a Rams fan. But Stafford looks comfortable now after that week 1 loss to the Bills. They kind of found their groove. Cooper Kupp still looks like he's one of the best receivers in the game. Their defense, little sus. After Von Miller's gone, people know about Aaron Darnold now. Trump probably triple team this guy. But yeah, man, just Rams look like they've got it together. Sean McVay looks like he's understanding the game more and more. The biggest problem for them is they need to run the ball. And that's really a lot of teams on this here list I'm looking at. They just need to run the ball a lot more. But I'll get into that more in depth. But right now, the way the Rams are playing, they're pretty much going to be the best team in their division. Because I'm looking at the 49ers. They don't know who they want at quarterback. Arizona right now, it's Kyler Murray versus everybody else. Everyone else Kyler Murray is going against. Every game, they're giving up at least over 300 yards on the defensive side of the ball. Hollywood Brown has been a great acquisition, but, man, it is just hard. The Seahawks, it wouldn't surprise me if they actually move up to be number 2 in the NFC West just because of poor play around everybody else. But I know the Seahawks are strictly tanking for the draft, but they're competitively tanking because you can't officially tank anymore in the NFL, but they're doing what they can, the Seahawks. That's pretty much the NFC West. It's the Rams. Next up is the NFC North, which is a little bit more fun to watch. I do not like the Vikings winning the NFC North. Obviously, I think that the Packers are going to win it. But Kirk Cousins, after that performance on Monday night against the Eagles, all those picks, and it just looked ugly. And this week was a good game to bounce back against the Lions. Plus, it's a divisional game, so obviously +1 on +1. This is great. Speaking of that, the Bears, help Justin Fields out. Please help him out. Help Justin Fields out. But back to the Vikings, just like I said, you gotta, I don't know if you trust in Kirk Cousins. Kellen Mond is your backup. I love him. I'm an Aggie fan. I think you should utilize him more. Definitely, get him more reps with the first team unit because Kirk, I think your time is coming up. Same way with the Packers. I like the receiving core now. I don't care what the media says. I think in the next 6 to 7 weeks, people are going to understand how good the receiving core is for the Packers. At least they drafted him some help. I understand Devontae Adams is gone, but at least they got him some help. Lions, they give up too many points. They're always in every game, man. They finally got their offense together. Their defensive line is straight, but their secondary is just trash, bro. They're always in games, but they're just not. You know what I mean? And it sucks because I hate to watch them lose every single week with the last 1 minute and 30 seconds on the clock. It's just determined. This team should be 3-0. No question, this team should be 3-0. Especially how they fall back against Philly. They beat the Commanders. And then they turn around and lose to, the Vikings and the heartbreaker. So it's just, well, actually, they were always up. They were up against the Commanders the whole game, which they should play like that more often. I don't know. It's hard to do when you're not an NFL player. You know what I mean? But coaching, all that factors in. NFC South, obviously the Bucs are probably going to win this division. Brady and the boys, he's got every receiver that's caught over 10,000 passing yards on his roster, so it doesn't really matter at this point. Panthers have a good defense, though. Baker Mayfield is not the guy. You're better off with Sam Darnold, to be honest with you, but hey, that's just me speaking. Saints, James Winston, they're probably going to pull out 9-8 this year. Defense is terrible. They don't know who really to lean on more so offensively. I think Kamara coming back, Thomas, Landry. I think these guys could actually do something towards the end of the season when it's like the playoff run, but it is what it is. Falcons, defense gives away too much. Marcus Mariota is not the guy. However, there's a plus side for the Falcons. Pitts needs to step up more, but Drake London is a great asset to the team. So those two players right there, that's pretty good. You got somebody on the outside, you got somebody on the inside. They have size on their team. That's what they got. They got a lot of size on their team. Now we'll switch over to the AFC. My home, my love, my team's on the AFC, so shout out to the AFC. Dolphins look suspect. I'm just not sold on the Dolphins. I'm not. I want to believe that they're really good because they're 3-0. And they beat the Bills, but how they beat the Bills, was it really competitive? Was it were they really ahead? Their defense is amazing, but their offense is good too. it's just Tua. I like Tua, but I don't like Tua. You know what I mean? It's hard to really put the Dolphins in that box over the Bills. And the only reason why I say that is because the Dolphins can actually run the ball. The Bills cannot run the ball at all. If you're going shotgun inside the 5, that says a lot about your team right there, that you don't trust your running backs. And I know that that's the way the game is going, but I'm looking at all this stuff and I'm saying to myself, man, like, just pound the inside. Just go straight up the middle with people. Go and get your 6 points, 7 points, whatever. I know it hurts fantasy. I know it hurts stats, but get your points, man, because that's how you win games. Surprisingly enough, I called this in my other podcast. I do have the Jets finishing at least number 2 in the division this year for AFC East. So I called that. Zach Wilson is not coming back yet, but Joe Flacco is doing the dang thing, especially against Cleveland. They come back. I've seen that. But, looking at this and saying to myself, the Jets got a squad. They got the Williams brothers. Well, they're not real brothers, but the Williams brothers. Their defense is pretty young and solid. They've got Bryce and they've got Michael Carter at running back. Tyler Johnson, too. He's there, too. They might as well throw him in. They've drafted him a couple years back. Receiving-wise, Garrett Wilson. People say what they want about Corey Davis. Corey Davis is a good receiver. He's not your top tier or maybe your second level, but he's a good third level guy. He's all right. He's all right. Corey Davis is all right. As for the Patriots, one-dimensional, man. And they look like they just gave up. They just gave up, and they don't look good at all. They don't look like they could really surprise me with anything. I know Belichick's supposedly the greatest coach of all time, but I'm not feeling it at all. I'm not feeling the Patriots. Their offenses looks bad. They have no explosion players. Spend some money on some players, guys. That's all I can tell Mr. Crab. You got the money, spend some money on players, because it's not going to look good for the next 6 weeks. The Patriots, who they're playing, it's not going to look good. AFC West, this is supposed to be the best division in football, by the way, y'all. This is supposed to be the best division. That's what they say. Chiefs, obviously, what I thought, we're going to take charge in this, win this division. Broncos, well, let's talk about it, right? No Tyreek Hill, yet Mahomes finds a way to win games. Their defense, George Karlaftis, who I wanted for my team, but obviously we took Derek Stingley, and I'll get to that separately. The Chiefs really look like they could do a lot of damage against a lot of football teams now more than ever. And the reason why I say that, I know they lost to the Colts, but it happens, right? It happens. It has to happen. But looking at their division, it's not as strong as I thought it would be, because the Raiders are 0-3 right now. Chargers are 1-2. Herbert is hurt. I don't know if he's playing or not, but he is hurt. And you got the Broncos, who I don't know what their head coach is doing, but also at the same time, I don't know what Russell is doing either. So they're finding their ways in and out in these games, and it's just blah. But I say this to say that about the Chiefs is that they're the most completed team in their division. And on top of that, they're exploring their new receiving cores. And I think that Sky Moore, he's not the guy that I think that people anticipated him to be yet. Give it time. He's getting there. Just give it time. But as for now, I'm looking at the rest of this division. The Broncos, they have a terrible head coach. They're really just out there playing football by themselves. Chargers, they have a terrible head coach too. Really, all three of them really have bad head coaches, because if you had Joey Bosa, you know what I'm saying, and Khalil Mack on your D-line, you should be terrorizing the league. But I understand the Chargers are not who they are. The Raiders, they just gotta know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. I just don't know at this point. However, Vontae Adams, he still got his touchdowns. That's all I can say about the Raiders on the positive note. I respect the Raiders. I like the Raiders. They cool. AFC North, got the Browns, who actually are leading the pack. Ravens, who are right behind them. Steelers, bottom two is the Steelers and the Bengals. I don't know who's going to win this division. I didn't expect the Browns to be this good. I actually want them to be bad. But I didn't expect the Browns to be this good this early with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. And that's actually scary, because once you implement Deshaun Watson into that team, this team's probably going to excel and be really good. Really be good. Really, really good. Same way with the Ravens. I'm loving Lamar Jackson. He's going to be MVP. Again, excuse me. This dude here, is electrifying. Every game he plays, he's lights out. What more could you say about the Ravens? Obviously, Lamar Jackson is the Ravens right now. Steelers, Najee Harris is the best offensive weapon until they start Kenny Pickett in the discussion with the Steelers. Start Kenny Pickett, wait till TJ Watt gets back, and you'll be a contender again. Bengals, told y'all it was a fluke. Said in my other podcast. I told people that the Bengals were a fluke. Obviously, how they got to the Super Bowl last year was magic, all of the above. I don't know what was going on. But it is what it is. Fair is fair. The Bengals are just blah, blah, not right now. Like they're not who they say they are. AFC South, the last division, and then after that I'm done with this, and then I call out the games, and I'll tell you for college football and FanDuel as well. AFC South, the Jags are number one in the division right now. Colts are right behind with 1-1-1. Titans are 1-2, and of course my Texans are at the bottom of the barrel at 2-1. 0-2-1. Jags, their defense looks good. They look legit. I think Nakobe Dean was a great pick. Now looking back at it, at first I was like, nah, but now looking at it, okay, I see you, Jags. I see what you did there. Doug Peterson's finally think he's found his rhythm with the Jags, and I think that after 2 weeks of great defensive performance and Trevor Lawrence just playing the game, I'm sold on him now. I think that he's a decent guy. He looks good. As for the Colts, I love Matt Ryan. Fantasy-wise, he's done wonders for me fantasy leagues. Time to hang it up, bro. Time to hang it up, man. But really, they're actually not in a bad position. They're only 1-1-1-1, which could honestly really help them out down the road with that tie. But it's okay. It's like I said, the Colts are way too talented to have this record. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Titans, I mean, okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, it's the Titans. Like, I expected the Titans to be like this. Like, I expect them to be this way. Texans, yeah, we got to get rid of Davis Mills. Got to. In the past 3 games, we have a chance to win it. All those 3 games, and it was in Davis Mills' hands. The defense did their part. However, I'm a huge fan of my boy Peachtree. Shout out to Baylor University. But Stingley, man, I don't know. I think that was a wasted pick. I probably should do a segment on that as well about that, but it is what it is. All right, so week 4, call out the games. If y'all are ready, let's do this. Thursday night game, Cincinnati versus Miami. Miami's going to torch Cincinnati. 1 o'clock game Sunday, Bills versus Ravens. Give me the Ravens. The Ravens. Next up is the Chargers versus the Texans. Chargers. Not even going to get into that one. Jacksonville versus Philly. Now, this is going to be a good game. I am actually scared to call this one, and I will come back to it. Seahawks versus Lions. Give me the Lions. They bounce back and actually win this game. Cleveland versus Atlanta. Cleveland beats Atlanta. Bears versus the Giants. Do not be surprised if the Giants win this game by a lot. Washington versus Dallas. Give me I'm going to come back to that one too. Titans versus Colts. Give me the Colts. Jets versus Steelers. Believe it or not, give me the Jets. Just give me the Jets. Arizona versus the Panthers. Give me Arizona. Patriots versus the Packers. Aaron Rodgers from the tear that ass up. Denver versus the Raiders. This is actually where the first win for the Raiders come against the Denver Broncos. They're going to beat them this week. Rams versus 49ers. This is an interesting game. I don't know, whoever starts at quarterback, pretty much, if it's Jimmy G, then I think the Rams win. I think the Niners win. If it's Trevor, if it's I can't think of the boy's name, Trey Lance, then I don't think the Rams win. But because I don't know, it's undefined, I'll give it to the Rams. Like I said, back to Philly versus Jacksonville. This is going to be a good matchup. 2 teams that got good defenses. I don't think that the cornerbacks can cover A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith very well. Also, on the flip side, Darius Slay, he can hold his own. Yeah, I'm going to give it to Philly. Give it to Philly. Washington versus Dallas. I like Dallas's defense a lot. But I think that Washington, after they gave up all those sacks last week, I'll probably give it to Dallas. Dallas got this game. Dallas has got that game. All right. Jumping and switching over to my favorite football time. My favorite football to watch, which is college football. And I'm only going to do the top 25 and, of course, special selected rivalry games as well in college football because I can't cover all 122 FBS football teams. But what I can do is the ones that matter the most to you and the rest of the world. How about that? I'm messing with you. Thursday night we got Utah State versus BYU. Go ahead, Brigham Young University. They'll take care of that. Then Friday night we got Washington versus UCLA. I actually think that UCLA could win this game against Washington. So we'll take that. Then, of course, Saturday morning. Saturday, pretty much, I'll do the whole Saturday slate. How about that? Michigan versus Iowa. I got Michigan beating Iowa. Kentucky versus Ole Miss. Ole Miss is going to beat Kentucky. Purdue versus Minnesota. Purdue's going to air it out. Texas Tech versus Kansas State. After what Texas Tech did against Texas on Saturday, I'm rolling with Tech. Rolling with Texas Tech. OU versus TCU. Give me OU. Gabriel is going to do good. I think that Gabriel and Marvin Mims and, of course, Gray's going to have a good game. Oregon State versus Utah. I actually like Oregon State in this game over Utah. And the reason why is because I watched them play against USC and they actually made USC 17 points. Might have been some miscues for USC, but still, to allow that and create that says a lot. Oklahoma State versus Baylor. Give me Oklahoma State. I love Spencer Sanders. I think that he is going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL draft coming up. Wake Forest versus Florida State. Give me Wake. The way they played against Clemson, how they put up the points, they did their thing. Bama versus Arkansas. I want to see Arkansas win, but the reality is Bama got them boys. So go ahead, Bama. Ohio State versus Rutgers. Was that plus 40 on Ohio State? Minus 40 on Ohio State? Yeah, I'll take that. Northwestern versus Penn State. Give me Penn State. Texas A&M versus Mississippi State. Come on now, thumbs up, Aggies. Let's get that. UGA versus Missouri. UGA is going to win this game, but Missouri is going to put up at least about maybe 14 to 17 points. North Carolina State versus Clemson. Believe it or not, give me NC State against Clemson. Here's the reason why. NC State has a quarterback that can actually run and throw, and on top of that, they can run the ball very effectively. What Wake Forest could not do against Clemson is what NC State is going to do against Clemson. Put it like that. Georgia Tech versus Pitt. Go ahead and give me Pitt. They just fired their head coach at Georgia Tech. Arizona State versus USC. Come on, Trojans. Fight on, or whatever. Fight on, dude. Yeah. Oregon versus Stanford. I like Stanford because they suffocate the clock and they run the ball a lot. But I also like Oregon too. So I'm going to roll with Oregon on this one just because of the style of play. That's all that is. And let's wrap this up real quick. I'm playing the 1 o'clock games on FanDuel. So that is what I have right now. The most expensive player is going to be your running back position at Nick Chubb at 9,200. But here's my value, what I'm going to say right now for quarterbacks. If you're going to be interested in getting quarterbacks in FanDuel, Josh Allen at 89, Lamar Jackson at 88, Jalen Hurts at 86, Jared Goff at 76, Geno Smith at 66. These are the quarterbacks that I think that you should play. I think that Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen can go back and forth, tit for tat. They both can run, they both can throw. Same with Jalen Hurts. I think he's going to do great against Jacksonville's defense. Jared Goff, he's going to put up a lot of points against the Seahawks. I think that's going to be a plus play. A plus play. And Geno Smith as well as a plus play as well. Excuse me on that one. Running backs, I got Nick Chubb at 92. Barkley at 81. James Robinson at 78. Javonte Williams at 74. Najee Harris at 7,000. Damian Pierce at 68. Gibson at 66. Zeke at 64. These are all good running backs. I wouldn't be paying up unless you just want to watch Nick Chubb just, torch, Atlanta, which, after a while, it gets old. But I am just invested in just getting a running back less than 7,800 and down. There's just too many good ones out there. Then you got Stephon Diggs at wide receiver, 8,700. AJ Brown at 8,300. St. Brown at 8,000. Kirk at 76. Pittman at 75. Metcalf at 71. Vontae Williams at 69. And Drake London at 63. And then you also have 2 plus plays as well. DJ Shark at 57. Jahan Dotson at 57. And I believe CeeDee Lamb, I forgot where he's at, but he's in the 7,000 range too as well. Tight ends Tight ends, we got Jalen Woods at 4,500, Will Dissly at 4,800, and Mark Andrews at 8,400. I like Jalen Woods against the Titans because their linebackers are trash. I like Will Dissly because I know that the linebackers for the Lions are also trash. And I like Mark Andrews because that is Lamar Jackson's favorite target. That's a double play right there. Touchdown on Lamar, touchdown on Mark Andrews. That's 2 touchdowns right there, plus whatever the yards in the distance. So that's not bad at all. But that's what I got going on this week. Hopefully you like the breakdown of the matchup. I mean, what is it? The roster and, the teams, how I broke down the NFC and stuff like that. If you don't, let me know. If you do, that's great. I'm exceptionally happy about this. This is going to be week 4 and week 6 for college football. Y'all stay tuned. Please let me know if I'm wrong. Let's see how this ages. I'm out. Peace. Oh, my bad. Vapor Max and the air structures. Now I'm out. Peace.